Hey, this is Anthony with RevZilla TV, and welcome to our ABUS Security Overview. In this video, we're going to talk high level and then take it down a notch and get a little bit more granular about the range of products from ABUS, but really why ABUS is that different when it comes to comparing it to some of the other manufacturers of locks that you see here in the States. The first thing you need to know is as you're selecting your type of lock is you have to think about what you're trying to accomplish. Are you trying to keep someone from moving your bike? Do you need something that can go on the go with you? Do you need something that's a little more permanent? You need to anchor to the ground? ABUS basically makes products in three different categories. You start with disc locks. You have disc locks that are not going to be sonic or they don't have an alarm built on them. They start from more basic to get really beefy. So you have the Provogue, you have a trigger in the middle, this is the Sledge, and you go up to something like the Victory here, which is a little bit different style too. Remember, we have a video on everything I'm showing you here today, plus all the other products in the ABUS line. From there, you go into disc locks. And again, when I say disc lock, I'm talking about a component that's going to slide on the front wheel disc brake disc of your bike. It locks in. This is one that has an alarm. It's called the Detecto RS1. And when I alarm it, it basically uses its own technology for motion. It's made of high quality materials, 2 AAA batteries powering it, but you're going to get the added bonus of having an alarm. And you'd move up to something like the Detecto 8000, which is probably the beefiest brake disc lock we've ever seen that also has an alarm, and they use a special 3D technology that's not just motion activated, it's actually gyro activated on these locks. So very, very high-end stuff. Moving from disc locks, you go into chains. ABUS uses specific materials for all of the steel they use. They source it themselves. It's their proprietary blend. It's tempered at both extreme cold and extreme heat. And they use all the way up to something like a 13 or 15 millimeter hexagonal chain, and then you go all the way down to something that's more entry level that would be like the Ionis 8900 here, which is an 8 millimeter chain. The claim to fame is it's corrosion-free, weatherproof. All the lock cylinders are pick-proof as well as drill and weatherproof. And the beauty is they can make a chain that's going to be 40 to 60% lighter at the same size than the competitors based on some of the exotic materials they're using and the compounds they're using, but they're actually stronger. So this 8 millimeter chain is going to be 60% lighter than a competitor's 10 millimeter chain, and also be stronger. So dramatic differences here in the proprietary process. From there, you go to something that's a little bit more extreme, like this folding lock from ABUS. We don't see this very often, but it's really beautiful here. And what you're going to have is something that's really portable that you can connect. You can put that sleeve on your bike, and there's your U-lock that now you can basically ride with, and it folds out, and you have the connectability. From there, I want to get into the keys they use. If 3 different levels of keys. A lot of times we'll see other manufacturers that'll have a few different a few hundred different types of keys, and that's really different keys. ABUS uses 2 different levels. They have their 3 different levels. They have their basic level, which is tempered. It's not going to break. It's a more durable pick-proof key. Then you go into the Plus range, which is a laser cut key that has 250,000 different combinations, and you go to their X Plus range. 1.4 million different key different combinations. They've actually submitted them to the U.S. government for testing, and the government hasn't been able to pick them. They are extreme pick-proof, weatherproof cylinders, drill-proof, pull-proof, and the beauty of it is they use a power cell technology within all of these locks. So if you do damage, if you try to, by brute force, disconnect these locks from their housings, what happens is it's built in such a way that none of that force is transferred to the cylinder. So you can't force these open. It's very difficult to do. The thing at the highest level you have to think about when selecting a lock is that buying a lock kind of covers 2 bases. One, it's a deterrent. When somebody sees the lock connected to your bike, they're going to think twice about if that's the bike they want to try to steal. The other portion is really the length of time that someone, and the amount of effort, it's raising the amount of effort somebody has to put forth. So with a cheaper lock, a round basic chain, a cut saw usually can get through stainless steel pretty quickly. When you start to go to these proprietary compounds and you have a square chain or a hexagonal chain, you're really adding a dramatic amount of time and effort to these locks. The other nice part about any of the chains is they have this heavy-duty coating that's built onto them, which is going to be scratch-proof, and the other piece is they call it their Comfort Link. It's where when I completely unlock this key, versus even though it's very heavy duty and it's actually heavy in my hand, it won't fall out of the lock body. It's actually spring loaded and you just have to give it a slight pull to pull it out. So what happens is as you're unlocking your bike, you're not going to have any issues when you unlock the housing and then this part would fall out and potentially scratch any component on your bike. So again, this is super premium stuff. It's typically, you're getting more bang for the buck. You're investing in the fact that ABUS is almost a 100-year-old company, the #1 padlock manufacturer in the world. These guys are the Kleenex of locks in Europe, and really here in the States, they're making a huge push and kind of changing the way people look at bike security, because some of the innovative features, these have won Red Dot Awards, and the way that they're tested and manufactured, it's just very much a step up than some of the different brands that we see here that are more price point in the States. So if you have any questions about ABUS, you want to see the full line, remember we have a video on everything here. Their full line of products, which is dramatically more than what's on this table. Visit us at revzilla.com/ABUS. You can always shoot us a line at cs@revzilla.com or 877-792-9455. And as always, if you're new to Revzilla, everything over $39 ships for free. We do free exchanges, and if you don't like something, send it back to us. We'll give you 100% back to your credit card. No restock fees as long as what you send back is in brand new condition. You can also earn Teamzilla cash to be applied to your next order as part of our loyalty program. Thanks for watching our ABUS overview at Revzilla TV today. I'm Anthony. We'll see you next time.